Level 1. The Nobody. Your crosshairs sit on a man's chest. He's holding a 7-year-old girl by the throat with a serrated kitchen knife. Your spotter whispers the distance. 42 yards. You know the math. You know the wind. You know where the round will land. You don't know if you can kill a human being. Rewind. 6 months ago, you're a patrol officer pulling a $52,400 salary in Columbus, Ohio. Badge number 4417. You work the overnight shift in Franklinton, the kind of neighborhood where people call 911 and then change their minds before you arrive. You write reports. You sit in parking lots eating gas station burritos at 2:40 a.m. You respond to domestics where both parties hate you more than they hate each other. You are nothing. But every time the SWAT unit rolls past your patrol car in that black Bearcat, lights off, moving fast, heading somewhere that actually matters, something in your chest catches fire. You want in. You need in. You've wanted this since you were 14 and watched a documentary about the North Hollywood shootout. You told yourself you'd be one of those guys. You're not one of those guys. Not yet. You submit your application to the tactical unit on a Tuesday. 11 other officers apply. You hear through the grapevine that 6 of them have prior military experience. Rangers, Marines. One guy was a Special Forces weapons sergeant. You were an average college wrestler who couldn't make it past regionals. Your interview lasts 9 minutes. The SWAT commander, a guy named Lieutenant Hargrove, looks at your file like it's a parking ticket. He asks you one question. Why should I pick you over someone who's actually been shot at? You don't have a good answer. He tells you to leave. Level 2, the selection. You get the call back anyway. Not because you impressed anyone. Because 2 candidates failed their psych evals and 1 blew out his ACL playing weekend football. You're filler. You know it. Everyone knows it. SWAT selection runs 5 days. It starts at 0430 on a Monday in late October. The air is 38 degrees. You're in shorts and a department-issued t-shirt standing in the parking lot of a decommissioned middle school on the east side. Day 1 is physical. You run until your shins feel like they're splintering. You carry a 180-pound dummy up 4 flights of stairs, then back down, then back up. You do it 7 times. The guy next to you, a former 75th Ranger named Colvin, does it without breathing hard. You finish last. Your vomit freezes on the asphalt. Day 2 is shooting. Pistol, carbine, shotgun. Timed courses under stress. Flashbangs going off near your head. Instructors screaming wrong commands to see if you follow illegal orders. You don't. You shoot a 94 out of 100 on the rifle course. Best score of the day. Nobody congratulates you. But Hargrove writes something on his clipboard. Day 3, they put a rifle in your hands you've never held before. A Remington 700 in .308 Winchester. Bolt action. Loophole Mark IV scope. They tell you to hit a steel plate at 200 yards. You hit it 5 out of 5. They move it to 400. 4 out of 5. They move it to 600. 3 out of 5. One of them dead center. Hargrove says nothing, but he stops looking at you like filler. By day 5, 3 candidates have quit. You graduate selection ranked 4th out of 8. You get assigned to Alpha Team as a probationary operator. Your role, designated marksman. You're handed a pager. Yes, a pager. The department is 15 years behind on technology. When it buzzes, you have 22 minutes to reach the staging area. Your life no longer belongs to you. Level 3, the first deployment. Your first real call-out happens at 1:47 a.m. on a Thursday. A man barricaded in a duplex on Sullivan Avenue. He shot his girlfriend in the abdomen. She crawled to the neighbor's porch. He's inside with a Mossberg 500 and a bottle of Jim Beam, screaming that he'll kill anyone who comes through the door. You set up on a rooftop 87 yards east, prone position. Your spotter is a 10-year veteran named Briggs. He smells like menthol cigarettes and doesn't say anything he doesn't have to. You lie on cold tar paper for 4 hours and 16 minutes. Your elbows go numb. Your right eye starts twitching from holding the scope too long. Nobody tells you about the boredom. The movies don't show you lying in your own sweat, watching a curtain that doesn't move, while negotiators talk in circles over the radio. At 6:03 a.m., the subject surrenders. He walks out crying. You never fired a shot. You pack up the rifle, drive home, and sit in your driveway for 20 minutes. Your hands are shaking. Not from fear, from the 4 hours of sustained adrenaline with no release. Your wife asks how your shift was. You say, fine. Over the next 14 months, you deploy 31 times. You fire your weapon in the field exactly 0 times. Most callouts end with gas, a flashbang, and an entry team doing the work. You are backup, you are insurance. You are the thing they hope they never need. But you train. God, you train. Every Tuesday and Thursday at the department range, you put 200 rounds downrange per session. You learn to read mirage through a scope. You learn to calculate bullet drop in humidity. You learn holdover for crosswinds at 12 to 15 miles per hour. Briggs teaches you to build a range card in under 90 seconds. You stop flinching at anything. Level 4, the first shot. Deployment number 30. 2 changes everything. A custody dispute turned hostage situation in Westerville. Father took his 2 kids from a McDonald's parking lot at gunpoint, drove to his ex-wife's house, broke in, barricaded in the living room with both children, ages 4 and 6, and a Glock 19 with 13 rounds. You're on an elevated position, across the street, 61 yards, clear line of sight through a bay window. Blinds are half open. You can see the subject pacing, the children are on the couch, the 4-year-old is eating a granola bar. She doesn't understand what's happening. Negotiations run for 2 hours and 40 minutes. The subject is escalating. He's talking about ending it for all of them. The negotiator's voice is steady, but you can hear the strain. At 4:38 p.m., the subject picks up the 6-year-old by the arm and puts the Glock against the boy's head. Your radio clicks twice. That's the green light. The distance is nothing. The wind is negligible. The shot is a straight line problem you've solved 10,000 times on paper targets and steel plates. But there's a 6-year-old boy 3 inches from your point of aim. Your breathing stops. Your heart rate drops to 54 beats per minute. You know because the biomonitor clipped to your vest records it. You put the reticle on the subject's left ear. The round will enter and scramble his motor functions before his finger can complete the trigger pull. That's the theory. You press the trigger, the glass shatters. The subject drops. The boy falls sideways onto the carpet, screaming but uninjured. The 4-year-old doesn't look up from a granola bar. You rack the bolt and hold your position for another 11 minutes until the entry team clears the house. Then you break down the rifle, walk to the staging area, and fill out paperwork for 3 hours. The department puts you on mandatory administrative leave for 6 days. You see a psychologist twice. She asks you how you feel. You tell her you feel fine. You're not lying. You don't feel anything. That's the part nobody warns you about, the absence. Level 5, the operator. After the Westerville shot, your reputation shifts. People in the department look at you differently. Not with admiration, with distance. You're the guy who killed someone. In a building full of cops, that still makes you different. You get assigned as Alpha Team's primary sniper. Your salary bumps to $71,200 with overtime and tactical pay. Briggs rotates out, bad back, 2 herniated discs, and they assign you a new spotter, a 26-year-old named Delgado fresh off a Marine Scout sniper platoon. He's better at fieldcraft than you. You don't let it bother you. Over the next 3 years, you take 2 more shots in the field, both lethal, both justified, both generate paperwork thick enough to fill a binder. You start teaching at the State Tactical Officers Association. You run the sniper qualification course for 12 departments across Central Ohio. You write the updated use of force protocol for precision rifle engagements. Lieutenant Hargrove puts you up for the tactical team leader position. Here's what nobody tells you about Level 5. The politics are worse than the gunfire. The city council wants SWAT defunded by 30%. The police chief is running for a future in state politics and doesn't want headlines. Internal Affairs opens a review on your second shooting, 18 months after the fact, because a journalist filed a FOIA request. You spend 11 hours in a deposition answering questions from a lawyer who has never held a firearm and keeps calling your rifle a sniper gun. You start drinking bourbon on weeknights. Not a lot, 2 glasses, then 3. Your wife notices. You tell her it's just stress. She stops asking. You get promoted to team leader. You now manage 12 operators, a $340,000 annual equipment budget, and the expectations of a command staff that wants results without risk, headlines without liability, and miracles without resources. Level 6, the commander. Hargrove retires at 54 with a torn rotator cuff and a marriage held together by paperwork. You apply for SWAT commander. 3 other candidates. You get it because you're the only one with confirmed kills and a training record that doesn't have gaps. You now run the entire tactical unit. 41 personnel, 2 sniper teams, an armored vehicle that breaks down every 3rd deployment, a crisis negotiation team that reports to you on paper but ignores you in practice. Your salary is $94,600. You spend more time in budget meetings than on the range. You fight with procurement over replacing 8-year-old body armor. You justify every flashbang deployment to a civilian oversight board. Your third year as commander, a federal task force invites you to consult on a multi-state human trafficking operation. The targets are running girls through a network of massage parlors from Akron to Louisville. The FBI wants your team to execute simultaneous warrants on 4 locations in one night. You plan the operation for 6 weeks. Surveillance, floor plans, threat assessments. You brief your teams until they can recite entry sequences in their sleep. The night of the raids, everything goes right. 14 arrests. 11 victims recovered. 0 shots fired. It's the cleanest operation of your career. The FBI case agent, a woman named Reeves, pulls you aside afterward. She says hostage rescue team is looking for experienced tactical commanders. She gives you a card. You put it in your wallet. You don't throw it away. Level 7, the Federal Ghost. You make the call 4 months later, the night your wife moves out. She takes your 8-year-old daughter. She says she doesn't recognize you anymore. She says you look at the world like you're always measuring distance. She's right. HRT selection at Quantico is a different universe. These aren't city cops. These are former Delta operators, DEGRU guys, CIA ground branch contractors who went federal for the dental plan. The physical standards would break most professional athletes. The shooting standards make your state qualifications look like carnival games. You pass, barely. You're 41 years old and your knees sound like bubble wrap, but you pass. Your clearance goes to TS/Psi. Your assignments stop having addresses and start having grid coordinates. You deploy to places that don't appear on after-action reports. A compound outside Juarez, a warehouse in Dearborn, a shipping container in the port of Savannah, where you spend 19 hours watching a target through thermal optics. You take a shot in a place you are never allowed to name, at a distance of 847 yards, on a target whose face you only see through a scope. The round impacts and the radio confirms. You don't celebrate. You don't feel the absence anymore either. You feel nothing at all. Your federal salary is $141,000 plus hazard differentials that push it past $190,000 in busy years. You own a townhouse in Stafford, Virginia that you sleep in maybe 12 nights a month. Your daughter sends you drawings through your ex-wife's email. You save every one. You respond to none. Level 8. The Myth. By 47, you've been involved in more classified operations than you can count on both hands. Your internal file has sections that even your direct supervisor can't access. You're pulled from field operations and given a role that doesn't officially exist. Senior Tactical Advisor to the National Crisis Response Division. You design engagement protocols. You review sniper deployments across every federal agency. When something goes catastrophically wrong, a missed shot, a dead hostage, a blown warrant, your phone rings and you fly out to evaluate what happened. You carry a government BlackBerry that buzzes with encrypted messages at all hours. You brief people in suits who never tell you their titles. You sit in rooms without windows and point at satellite photographs and explain terminal ballistics to policymakers who nod like they understand. Your reputation in the tactical community is enormous and invisible. Operators at SOCOM reference your doctrine papers without knowing your name. Your holdover tables are used in 8 countries. A training program you designed for coalition forces is still running in 3 NATO member states. You are the best at what you do, and what you do has hollowed you out completely. You see your daughter once every 2 months. She's 15 now. She calls you by your first name, not Dad. She's polite about it, which is worse. You sleep 3 to 4 hours a night. You check the locks on your townhouse twice before bed, and once more at 3 a.m. when you wake up for no reason. You keep a Glock 19 in a biometric safe bolted to your nightstand. You keep a second one in a false panel in your hallway closet. You tell yourself this is standard practice. It's not. You've become the thing you trained to stop. Not violent, not criminal, but so detached from normal human life that you can calculate the ballistic coefficient of a 175-grain Sierra Match King, but you can't remember the last time you laughed without performing it. A junior HRT operator asks you once, over coffee at Quantico, what the hardest part of the job is. You tell him it's the math. You mean something else entirely. Level 9, the cage. You retire at 51, full federal pension, $8,400 a month deposited into an account you barely touch. You have a cabin outside Front Royal, Virginia. 60 acres, no neighbors within a half mile. You tell people you chose it for the quiet, you chose it for the sightlines. The first year, you try to be normal. You go to a hardware store, you buy a grill, you read books about woodworking. You sit on the porch and watch deer move through the tree line, and your brain automatically estimates the range at 310 yards and calculates a 2-inch holdover. And you hate yourself for it. Your daughter visits once. She brings her boyfriend. He's a 20-year-old kid studying accounting at Virginia Tech. He shakes your hand too hard. You catalog his weight, his dominant hand, the way he shifts his balance when he's nervous. You can't stop doing it. They stay for one night. Your daughter hugs you when she leaves. It's brief. Her boyfriend says, "It was nice meeting you, sir." You stand in the driveway and watch them drive away and realize that's the most physical contact you've had with another human being in 7 weeks. You start consulting. Private military contractors pay you $2,500 a day to evaluate their sniper programs. You fly to training facilities in North Carolina, Arizona, Nevada. You watch young men shoot. You correct their fundamentals. You see the look in their eyes, that hunger, that need to prove they're different from every other person who picked up a rifle. You recognize it. You had it once. The nightmares don't come the way people expect. You don't see the faces, you see the reticles, floating crosshairs in your sleep, centering on shapes that don't resolve into anything. Just targets, endlessly. The scope never lowers. A reporter from a defense publication asks to interview you. She wants to write a profile. The most lethal precision shooter in federal law enforcement history. You decline. She presses. You tell her there's no story. There is a story. The story is that you gave your entire life to a system that used you with surgical precision and discarded you with bureaucratic indifference. The story is that you are the most capable person in any room you walk into, and you can't hold a conversation with your own child. The story is that you won, and the prize is a cabin with perfect sight lines and a pension and the knowledge that no one on earth truly knows you. You don't tell her any of that. You hang up and pour 3 fingers of Woodford Reserve and sit in silence until the glass is empty. The next morning, you get an email from an old contact at the Columbus Division of Police. They're running SWAT selection next month. He wants to know if you'll come evaluate candidates. Consult on the sniper qualification. You say yes. You fly in on a Monday, October, 38 degrees. You stand at the edge of a parking lot at a decommissioned middle school on the east side and watch 8 candidates in shorts and t-shirts shivering in the cold. One of them, badge number 5581, a patrol officer from Franklinton who's never been shot at, who listed North Hollywood documentary on his application under motivation, who just scored a 94 on the rifle course, looks at you with that fire in his chest. He thinks he's going to be different. He's not. You hand him a Remington 700 point down range and tell him to send it. The machine keeps running.